Hi everyone, my name is Taylor Carl, and this is my Communications 231 persuasion speech about there being an age restriction on children having a cell phone. Have you ever sent a text instead of picking up the phone and calling someone? Have you ever caught yourself doing that? I have too. Have you ever realized that you've gone a whole day without actually talking to someone on the phone or face-to-face as opposed to through a screen on your phone or computer? I have also. In today's society, there are so many children that get so caught up in social media and having a cell phone at a young age, they don't even have very good social skills anymore because they're so wrapped up in what that text means as opposed to what it would sound like in person. So today I'm going to be talking about should children have a cell phone restriction age, meaning that I believe that they should have a cell phone starting at the age 12 or higher. I don't think anyone younger than that should have a cell phone because when you are developing as a child, your brain is still not completely developed, and if you are getting that vision, and there's so many problems that can happen with it, you don't really know how that can affect you, but it really does, and percentages show it. I hold myself credible because I know I had a cell phone when I was 12 years old, but I had it for safety reasons. I had it because I was the only sibling out of my sister and brother and I that was old enough to have one, and I was the only one on the bus that would get us home from school. So I was just to call my mom or my dad, and that was it. But now there's today that kids have cell phones that have all these texting and apps, and it's just like they don't even pay attention to the real world. They'll be looking and not even paying attention to walking across the street. So there's just so many problems that come along with it. The first reason why I think a child should have a restriction on his cell phone is that they would rather talk through a phone and not being face-to-face. They'd rather play games, they'd rather be inside talking to their friends than outside playing like we all would have. It also results in obesity in kids. That's a big problem that's been growing in today's day. Child obesity has tripled in the past 3 decades according to Times Tribune due to the use of technology. Younger ages have had a huge impact because they're now finally getting cell phones. Parents think it's good for them, but it's truly not. The amount of physical activity that a child experiences can affect how active they are and how much, if they're just eating and they're inside, obesity is very easy to be achieved. When a child has a cell phone, they'll use that as their activity. I think that is their social life. Meanwhile, they're not outside running around, they're not at a park, they're not even paying attention in school because they have a cell phone. When it comes to social activity, the kids think that they have their social lives through their computer, but they don't even know if they're actually talking to the right person. So there's just so many things with being vulnerable, they don't really know, and I think that's why there should be a restriction. Now that we have talked about how serious it can be for a child having a cell phone and how obesity can come into play, we can talk about how their social skills are messed up. When I had asked a survey to our classmates, and I had said, has anyone ever picked up the phone instead of calling someone, or texting someone instead of calling? And almost every single person said yes, and that's a very valid point because it's easier, I understand that, but it also at the same time doesn't benefit anyone because you're not actually talking to someone. Kids don't really know how to have a face-to-face conversation, so if you were to approach them, they'd get nervous, they don't know how to respond to you, they wouldn't even know what to say or what they're saying because they don't know how to speak that way anymore. There's a researcher actually at the University of Kansas that increased numbers of children, this is a fact I have to read. The increased numbers of children having a cell phone at a young age can hinder their developmental parts of their brain, and it can affect their social skills. So that's actually a proven test result that has been proven. And I'm sure because you see how many 2-year-olds play on iPads, and you see how many 5-year-olds have cell phones. When a child is given a cell phone to communicate with their parents, they oftentimes abuse that privilege, and they don't really know how that's affecting them or how it's making them vulnerable. Somebody could easily take it, and there's a lawsuit, and there's money out the window. Now that we've talked about how young children can have affected social skills, we can talk about the safety cautions of it. A child with a cell phone can be walking somewhere with their head down, not even paying attention to where they're walking, and they could be walking across the middle of the street, and they could get hit by a car. There's so many scary what-ifs that can happen, but you never know. It really can happen. A child can easily misplace their phone. They could bring it in school, put it in their backpack, it can get stolen. Or they could literally misplace it in the house, and then you buy a new one and find it a week later, and there's just money right out the window that the parents can get upset about. Young teenagers around the ages of 10 to 12 normally use social media to feel connected to their friends, but they don't know if there's I don't know the word, like an invader or like a person that's intruder, a predator that's watching them. So that could be another whole thing. Like, I know there's Tinder that adults use, and it's the same thing as if a younger kid was to have it. Now that we've talked about how dangerous it can be for a child to have a cell phone, we can review all the reasons why there should be a restriction. A child having a cell phone can cause lack of development on their brain. It can also cause obesity in children, and it changes the world because people are vulnerable and people don't know what's going on. I am very strongly passionate about this topic because I know I have seen kids that have it and it just can ruin your life, and I feel like in that way it's a given topic that could be really changed. But thank you guys for listening. Do you guys have any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much.